Let's
So
do
what's
it.
up, Towns and Sounds? We're gonna toast it up to the 17th episode of Sunday Brunch. What's up, sis?
Sunday
How you doing
brunch.
today? We are solo today. Life happens. Um,
Yes.
a lot of us are dealing with incidents that are, creating incidents in our families, in our health. We're
Yes.
losing individuals. This is the second person in the group that's lost someone. My aunt around the holidays, the fourth, and then Penny lost her baby sister, so I had to go back to DC to handle that. Tamika, starting to get a lot of business, so
Go
we're
Meek. Go
praying on.
Meek.
She had a really tough week this week. And it wasn't a tough week; it was a good week because she was bombarded. So she just needed a mental break, and I get that. One love, we're gonna keep it moving. Outside of the technical difficulties that, I don't know what's going on with Facebook Live, but you can guarantee that once I get off this phone, that's who I'm gonna be calling. I'm gonna be calling Blue Green to figure out what happened to the connection. We have had a lot of rain here, so I would not be surprised because I was having some connection issues last week. Might have got knocked off because the cable guys were around a lot this past week. So, getting back to where we are, my homegirl, Tara Lynn Towns, 501c3 with Living Beyond You and Child Development Specialist from Bayonne, New Jersey. We ain't got to talk about corner of the market today because we are New Jersey. Adrian Goodson, your host here. Need no introduction. Google it. Today,
Jersey girls for life. Girls for
okay,
life.
girls rock. So today we're going to discuss, the wobble. And, I know that, you've been hanging out with us for 17 Sundays. And, you're becoming familiar with the wobble, the bubble, what the men call it. And where the NBA and the WNBA are having great success and leading the way in sports, as a matter of fact, leading the way in sports versus COVID. We're the blueprint right now, Tara, for every sport around the world and how to do it. And we're doing the damn thing really, really well. The WNBA is alive and kicking with the sky and the sun and the fever out in front in the east. The sky, if Penny was here, to be talking junk. The Sky 10-4, the Sun is 6-8, and then the Fever. My coach. Shout out to Coach Stanley. They're 5-8. They're out in front in the East. While on the West Coast, of course, the Storm. They're 11-3. But my team, the Aces, they're 10-3, and we are the hot ticket. We are the team to beat right now. And the Sparks are 9-3, and the Lynx are 9-3, tied with them. So the West. Even when I was playing, the West was always a conference that was really, really tough to deal with. And in the East Coast, as you can see, there's a huge distance between the wins and losses with some teams. Some teams are really losing bad. Keep on praying for the dream. Atlanta, they just have a host of things going on with them that continue to make them an unsuccessful team. With the trades and then dealing with the senator over there who is not in support. But she's running a race right now, so I get that. You're a Republican. You got to do what you got to do, but not at the expense of the team. But, you know what I'm saying? But I sent you some really, really healthy topics,
Yeah.
discussion this week. And, what I really want to discuss the most is, the BLM movement and the NBA contributing $3 million towards
Yes.
empowerment in the black community. And then we have uh, a black president. His name is Masai Ujiri, um, and he's Nigerian. He's a president of the Toronto Raptors, and there was an article where his battle with racism, still continues, even though he's a president, okay, of the Toronto Raptors and breaking barriers down there. He was he dealt with being pushed last year by a deputy after the Raptors had just won against Golden State to compete for the NBA championship. He had on his all access pass identifying him and was still disrespected and belittled. So no matter whether he had on a custom tailor-made suit, it wasn't good enough. I mean, Tara,
Right.
seriously, what do brothers need to do to get past this? What do they have to do? We can't even wear a custom-made suit. We can't even make six figures. We can't even be millionaires, billionaires. We still have to deal with the belittlement from law enforcement, corporate America, and then just everyday life. Elaborate on that a little bit.
Well, first I want to say it's unfortunate. Been going on since the beginning of time. I mean, we have definitely made progress because those things that you just named were not even in existence, years ago and years ago. So, I mean, we've made progress as far as moving forward professionally, but once again, they're mistreated within that profession, and that level of respect is not there like it is for someone else that would be in the same position. So, I mean, just one thing I think we all should do, people who are targeted for one reason or another, is we have to really, really go deep within ourselves and connect to ourselves so deep that this stuff really we become repellent to it so that we can keep on moving. Because I'm always going to say keep on moving, right? So what do? We keep on moving because we are making progress. That's the positive side. But it's almost like there's like a protocol. There's a protocol for a black man to be pulled over. You got to put your hands on the steering wheel. You know, don't make eye contact. Don't reach for something. It's a shame. It's sad. It's insurmountable. I can't even find a word big enough to describe how they should not have to go through that. But once again, getting back to what they can do for them is be comfortable in what they're doing so much that they will still continue. The more we continue to grow, the more it's like a wildfire, right? You can contain when it's a small little fire somewhere, but when it spreads all over the place, then they have to call in the firemen that from the air and all types of things because they just can't contain something big. Step into your bigness. Whatever position you have, know that you are big within that position. Start talking to yourself like that and start living like that no matter what, you're still going to keep on moving in the position that you're in. Not only that, prepare your mind. It's always going to come back to the mind with me. Prepare your mental to honestly ignore those types of things because we can fight certain battles, but once again, this is a big one and this has been going on since the beginning of time. So this battle is, it's just one it's going to be a long haul and it's going to take so much, but it can't stop. That's the thing. Don't stop. Be who you are. You're a president. Be that president. If someone's not respecting you, keep it moving, keep it going. Play the game. It's a game. It's a game. We have to climb to the top one step at a time in this world. It's a paperwork world. It's a title world. Keep yourself professional always. Keep yourself. I love to remove excuses so that people can't violate. So, yes, some things we just can't control. When you walk by, people stare, point, or they're, not offering you a position that you qualify for. These are just things that happen. But things that we really can control, I say ignore it, but still keep moving because that's the game. The game is to never stop, no matter what's happening to you.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100% on that one. Like, there's all different types of people, all different types of personalities. I could sit here and honestly say that I know that you have a tough exterior just from learning from you. I can speak for myself, and I know, I'm around the people that have tough experience. Being from New Jersey, it kind of, that's kind of inbred. And so, but not everybody has that. Not everybody has that type of personality. No, not everybody has that tri-state area mentality. And anybody who's from this area knows what I'm talking about. Regardless as to whatever happens or where you go, you're a chameleon, and you will be able to rise to the occasion and just be comfortable in any room. But not everybody is like that. What top tips can you give or places that some guys can go, websites maybe, or just kinds of groups that they can become a part of that maybe they can, to help them with their self-esteem, because there's a lot of African American males that really don't feel like they should get therapy. They really don't feel like they need help through this. They feel like, oh, if I have a strong woman and by my side, and that doesn't always work. We all have to have an outlet. We all have to have a group where we can go, where we can vent, or we have one-on-one sessions with somebody who can help us and give us a different perspective. And that's something that I feel like is a weakness in our culture, in our race, is that, we don't seek help when we need it.
Yes, I agree. Well, I will say this one thing is that for a man to, we're conditioned just in society, I don't care what race it is, we're conditioned to that man is not able to express himself. If he is, he's weak. Vulnerability is a sign of weakness when it comes to men, but men expect us to be vulnerable and they think that that's a part of who we are. And I say the first thing that any man needs to do, honestly, is just to get rid of that notion that he can't have a vulnerable place. He can't be humbled. He can't be, I mean, you can. You can. I mean, things happen so that you are grown in a certain area. Things happen so that we're stretched. So the first thing, that I think, honestly, is for society just to get rid of that. I want to talk about this interesting study that I found. It blew me away. So the study was done on baby males and baby females, right? Because the study was to show the need and how males definitely express themselves. I won't give away the end result until I finish explaining what the study was. So they had these baby boys, their mothers went in a room and, said, okay, bye, whatever, mommy loves you, whatever. And then they had the baby girls. And supposedly, obviously, what the study, what they thought it was going to show is that little girls can't really cope well with that social emotional separation, and that the boys would be there like, okay. And what happened was the total opposite. It showed that the boys were, all of the babies were a mess when their mothers left the room, and the girls were looking around, exploring, you know, looking at their little hands and their fingers like, okay. Because the study was for them to leave abruptly, though, like not like, massage the situation, like, okay, mommy loves you, bye, and then walk out. We rock, you know what I'm saying? We just rock. No, but seriously, seriously though, it proves my point right here. It opened up my eyes too, because we all have that notion that men are steel and they don't need to, have their emotional state checked in at some point, or talk to someone, or have therapy or life coaching or whatever. We all need it as human beings. We all need to be pushed a little bit when we feel weary. We all need to have things exposed to us when we feel like maybe we can't reach them, or we have reached them. And now what do I do now that I'm up here? I'm getting all of this lashing because I'm up here. People don't like it, but I work so hard. I mean, it's just so many different emotions that go into place with success. And even when you're on your climb, you don't have to be there yet. It becomes very, very, very bombarded with life things, stress. So getting rid of the notion that men don't need this is going to be a big part for any male. It's private coaching sessions. I have males, teens, children, parents, couples. I mean, there's no, when it comes to the mind and just having that little push here and there, or that support, should I say, there's no age, there's no zip code. I've had all types of people, through the years. And I just say that open your mind to expanding yourself, open your mind to getting support in your mind, because you perform a million times better when your mind is on baseline. That's just a true fact. If we have so many things, kind of pulling at us and competing for our attention and our time, how can we really focus and walk in our greatness with our big shoes? We really We can, but we can't. It's going to be more of a challenge. And getting rid of the notion, please, this message for everyone out there, getting rid of the notion that Black people, that therapists are only for white people, that you crazy if you need a therapist. Like, stop. You're not crazy. Things happen in life. Trauma happens in life. Onset trauma, trauma that you can't, that boom, a surprise, a car wreck, someone's lost in your family. You're mentally ill because it's hard for you to cope with that. No, you're just a human being, male or female, that needs support in that area. You're not crazy because you need a coach or a therapist or something. I hear this so much. I hear this. I'm not going to, that's for white people. What's for white people? What's for white? It's for all people. Who hasn't been through? I've been through things in my life. You've been through things. You just spoke of a huge one that you've just had to not even overcome yet because you're not there yet, but you're making peace with it little by little. You're not crazy because of that. That's appropriate. We have appropriate reactions to different things that happen to us emotionally. So
Yeah,
get rid of that
absolutely.
notion. Get rid of that notion that you're crazy and it's for other cultures. We're leading right now. Our children are leading right now in anxiety, depression, suicide. Come on. It's not a white thing.
It's now has come the day where we definitely have to change our way of thinking. The way that we walk, talk, eat, sleep, drink. We everything. 2020 is the changing of the times where actually, you know, like people got to actually see the ice age. We're actually, I don't know what we're gonna call this. It's gonna be interesting what 2020 is gonna be called after all of this. And
Right.
so, we're in some tough times, and to stay on topic, just staying with the NBA and not even trying to bash on anybody, but this is our reality as professional athletes, and I played, and my time has come. There were people that played before me, and their time came when they had to hang up the shoes. But I can tell you this: the walk was pretty much the same in us
Yeah.
dealing with inequality. And, some of us have dealt with it to a higher degree and a higher level of discrimination and racism, where some of us were barely touched. And I was one of those players. I felt like I was barely touched by that. But, once my career was over, and then I started to go back for employment, I did feel that in the air. Um, and so, like, we have the NBA right now, who is basically contributing $3 million to
Yeah.
Black empowerment in the Black community. And as I look online, I'm saying we need to put money into our own organizations for Black empowerment. When
Yes.
you read a story about the president of the Toronto Raptors, for anybody who just came on, who was physically assaulted by a sheriff deputy after they had just won against Golden State Warriors, and then they go on to win the championship. Like, it's just crazy how that all happened. And then you have an announcer who from the Charlotte Hornets. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and this is crazy,
I
where
know.
he says it was an accident. I'm like, come on, dude. All right, he's tweeting the N word, and we already know what the N word is. I'm not even going to add the IGG. Okay. Bottom line is this: the
Dot,
N
dot, dot.
word. He tweeted it. All right. His name is John Fock, Focké, John Fock. All right. Excuse me if I don't pronounce it right. But anyway, don't insult people's intelligence when you sit and you say to me, "Oh, I'm sick to my stomach because it was a typo." No, you sick to your stomach because you got caught. First of
Right.
all, I know the iPhone. We all know the iPhone. Also the Android. I'm even going to throw the Android in there as well, Tara. Bottom line is, when you type something in there, that thing remembers it. It is a computer. So,
Yeah.
bottom line is, at some point in time, you type that word in your phone. You typed it in your
Absolutely.
phone and it saved it. And then it auto corrected it for you when you were typing. So uh, when you type in Nuggets versus whoever they were playing that day, it comes out nigga, and you're saying it was a typo? I mean, come on, man. Like, elaborate on that because,
No.
like, seriously, am I tripping? The worst
No.
thing is insult America's intelligence.
Yeah. You know what? First of all, I will say this. I have, when I'm texting, I have texted my cousin, hey Meek. I texted my cousin Mika, and one day I said, how are the kids? And I didn't pay attention. And it sent her, how are the lids? And so obviously we thought it was hilarious. I said, whatever, Mika. She said the lids are fine. Now, kids, KIDS, and lids, LIDS, that's very believable. That's very, that can happen because it did. I have my proof, my cousin Mika. Nuggets and the N word. How? Because it's not even the same syllable. A nugget and nig. That's not even, no. So please stop. Okay? I will say this, that God and his universe, listen, the dirt always comes to light. I'm telling you, it always comes to light. So I was saying, your stuff came to light, and now you need to find excuses to redirect what we all know now. You've had to use that word before. It's had to be in your phone. Like I said, if it was closer, because when I read the article, he even said, I don't even know how that word, because he knows it's not close, could replace it with that word. You know that it's not close. If it was trigger or so, you understand, like something like that was the same, because my phone did that to me. That is no nuggets, and it's the N is there, but the I and the I'm telling you, these are called what? What are our phones called? Smartphones. Okay, so stop
Smartphones.
it.
Exactly.
They're
Exactly. So
smartphones.
you got to
So
there,
stop trying
John.
to act like the phone is dumb, because it's
You
not
know,
dumb.
bottom line is you got caught out there, John. So stop trying to fuck with me.
Johnny,
That's his last name.
Johnny,
Bottom line is,
Johnny.
you know what I'm saying? And you know, it's just and this is the reason why I'm saying like you're contributing $3 million towards empowerment in the black community when you may need to be contributing that money to your own self and the people that you have within your own organization. That was
Yeah.
the Charlotte Hornets, and it gets better. I'm gonna tell you this, Tara. We have another announcer. Okay, now I play for the Houston Comets,
Mm-hmm.
right? The Houston Rockets organization, right? This guy commentated. His name is Bill Baptist. Shame on you with a last name like that. Now, Houston Rockets. He puts on social media, and now it's going viral because other people have caught on to it. All right. Now, you might have taken it down, but somebody saved it. So
Yeah.
he calls the Democratic race Joe in the Hoe. He blasts this. Okay. Commentator for the Houston Rockets. We have internal issues. We have to flood and filter out the very
Yeah.
individuals that are within the organization. That's a tough job,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Because a lot of these guys are owners, they have money, they're
Mm-hmm.
invested, they feel like they can be free willy and say whatever they say. Why? Because the majority of the league is black. What do you feel like you're running a plantation here?
Right. Right.
So when you have these good old boy mentalities around you, regardless as to how much money you make, LeBron James, regardless as to how much money you make, James Harden, regardless as to how much money you make, Chris Paul. Regardless as to how much you make money you make, Steph. I don't even have to say your last name. Bottom line is, you're always gonna be treated like a n. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we've been in a conditioning system for a very, very long, 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 long time. And that mentality is still stuck in us, unfortunately, that we are less than, even though we have more. See, there's power in numbers, and all of the greats behind us used to say that. They showed us that by marching, petitioning, boycotting. I mean, those are different things that can be still done, that they're doing now, with the Black Lives Matter movement. But just once again, to start developing these skills within yourself, to develop a new conditioning system in you yourself first, because that's where it begins with, is going to assist. I feel that it's time for all of the people in power that are minorities, that are different cultures, to come together and form their own organizations. Why not? Form your own organization. We talked about the team last week. Get your own. It's time to get your own. I mean, I'm serious. I can't say it enough, because Penny talked about this last week, with the different, setting up the different organizations for the WNBA for support. You can talk about it, and we have our complaints, and they're valid. It's valid. It's not like this is not really happening, in the world, because we know it is. But how long are we going to talk about it, though? That's what I'm trying to say. Like, how long are we going to say, I keep going through this, I keep getting skipped over for this, how long are we going to do that? There's power in numbers. There's power in numbers. Unite. No more crabs in the bucket like we were trained to do on the plantation. Certain slaves got to go in the house, certain slaves. I mean, it shows up today. It shows up in my life, right? Like, we talk about racism, but it shows up that mixed is a whole nother ball game, right? Once again, the white people, the African American people, where do you fit in? I know I am an African American woman. My mother was white, and I definitely love her and love all of my family. And I know that is a part of me. But we all deal with certain racism. You don't think that I dealt with people being mad at me because of my skin and my hair. I just don't speak about these things quite often, but they did affect me growing up. There's different labels. This is why our organization is doing what it's doing about the bullying. Is not just about bullying. There's racial bullying, and there's corporate bullying for adults that never gets talked about. That's the people that do get skipped over because their resume comes over, but once they're met in person and someone in power sees who they really are, they're skipped over to someone who's not. It's just time. This is a time with COVID, you guys. This is a time, I'm not joking, to connect to yourself on the deepest level. God is giving us time, right? We never have time to do this stuff. Connect with yourself. Like, write out a list of all of the things that you want to achieve, that you want to disappear, that you want to appear. These are things. Connect with people. Like you asked earlier, where could these men go? There are so many social groups out there. It's not even funny. I get invited all the time to every type of group under the moon. Christian women, women in power, Black-owned business women. There's so many different groups. Like, connect with people. Because when you are by yourself talking about this issue, we're going to keep talking about it over and over and over. But when there's millions of people in power that are financially well employed, situated, positions, now things can start to shift, and they will shift because there's power in numbers. You're not isolated in this. Get the mentality that this goes on, but I like resolution and solutions. I don't like to keep, once again, if the same issue is presented to me, what are we still talking about? Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Now, this is huge. I'm not, downplaying this. But my point is, I feel it's time to upplay coming together and standing strong. I mean, like, what time is not better than this time where you can reach people who you normally can't reach, where you could sit there and have time to form organizations, to start reaching out to your colleagues and people, in positions that can help foster what you're trying to do. It's time to, honestly, it's time to really, really shift societal thinking. It's time to shift all of these notions. It's time to, we're home. Okay, and even when we're out, it's limited, but we have a lot of time on our hands. Use the time wisely. We're not going to live in COVID forever. So when it lets up or life turns to our new normal, we'll never be the same. Once again, we always say that, but like, what are you turnkeying when your door opens? Right? People want a turnkey property when they buy real estate. What's your turnkey? When you open the door, who are you? Are you enrolled in that PhD program that you've been sitting on forever? Are you the president of a new group form that, that redirects racial tensions and that really, really hones in on this and really, really effectively puts policies in place for people to be penalized that disrespect on the level that some of our men in power and women are disrespected on? Are you the game changer? Are you the one who's starting it? Are you the match that lights the fire? That's
Absolutely. I really do. I hope that the NBA and the WNBA really begin to put some things in place where people are held accountable when they do that
yes.
within the organization, and to be able to shell out that kind of money and not be able to have a solution within your own house seems kind of crazy to me, and I'm sure it would be to anybody else. And with that being said, I really would like to see a change because there's too many people in high places that have been doing this. And if you look at the NBA's history the last 10 years with owners being disrespectful, them having to get rid of an owner out in California because of his racial discussions and things that he was saying across television, across the internet, that got him fired, all the way to the president of the Toronto Raptors dealing with it. Then you have players that are speaking out about it, as far as inequality with the pay was concerned, and they took care of that. And then you have, these nowadays where we have the two things that I talked about with these commentators and these announcers, people who are supposed to be big upping these guys that are belittling them. And I know how much time, how much effort I put into helping to build the WNBA. And I know how much time and effort these guys put into spending money. Not spending money, but their time and their effort putting it into the NBA. I would like to see those two organizations do everything that they possibly can to make sure that we're a success, not only on the court, makes them a success, but also off the court, and put those programs and have policies in place, where these types of things cannot happen. Let it be zero tolerance, just like it's zero tolerance if someone gets tests positive for cocaine.
Right. Right.
So with that being said, and thank God we don't hear no stories like that no more. It's great.
Right.
But I can tell you this, on the women's side, with the right wing Senator Lawful, who is co-owner of the Dream, and calling WNBA players a woke mob. All right. Why would you put us in a felonious position? Mobs are felons. You become a felon.
Right.
Okay, felonious act. So you're calling us a woke mob. All right. Now, one of your best players opts out. Renee Montgomery decides that she's not going to play for social justice. Okay, that was the headline. But how many players really defected because they didn't want to play for somebody who is a racist, or they feel is a racist? Or maybe she's not a racist. Maybe she's just pulling her Republican race card because she's she's running a race right now, and she's on Donald Trump's side. Like, so you got to play, you got to use your basketball team. You throw your team under the bus. See, those psychological issues that we deal with, like, why am I here playing for a racist?
Right.
I don't care how much money you're paying me. I can't do that. So I'm gonna opt out this season. You guys can say what you want to say about it. You can say it's a social movement, whatever you want to say about it. But real talk, under the cover, I'm not playing because I don't want to play for a racist. How does that sound, Terry?
Well, it's disheartening, number one, but it goes back to what I just said a few minutes ago about boycotting and petitioning, and these are the things that are going to shift anything. When you make too much noise, it must be quieted down, right? Because no one wants to be attached to, negative connotations, negative energy, negative, especially when you're running in campaigns, you need support from people. You don't want, that's the opposite. However, she was bold enough to, state something like that. So obviously, once again, we don't know if she is or not, but I mean, kind of the comment, the way that she behaved, that's kind of, it's definitely not positive. We can say that. So, for the players who did opt out, I just commend them. And this is my point. It comes to, seriously, when you want to see a shift, right, in anything, especially society or your weight or a relationship, we could just tie it all in. You have to come to the terms with how serious, number one, you are about your claim, your complaint, or whatever you're going through. Because if you really say, this is my rule of thumb for anyone that has any issue coming to me, when you're ready to get rid of it and let it go, you will. When you're not, you will still sit down and you will still say, I'm going through this, I'm doing this, I'm going through it. Now, you said something very, very important earlier with everyone is not the same. Everyone does not have tough skin. We've had different family microsystems that the rearing is different. You have different parenting styles that foster a certain, personality type when they're older. So you have a lot of different things that go into play. You have models. You have people in your home, maybe they broke down and cried for every bad thing that happened. And then you had, the authoritative who everything was strict and there was no room. So now you're tired of it. You will start it. And guess what happens to strong leadership that is standing in conviction? More people start gravitating to you. Now your conviction is expanding, expanding, expanding. And guess what happens? That's when things start to shift, because we live in a society where things normally are pretty much hush hush. But now all of these things are coming out. And I'm sorry, but I think COVID honestly has people in a place where they're being beyond expressive, but where mentally and emotionally, we don't even know these stories, but people are like beating people up. People are dying. This guy beat this couple with a bat, killed them, crashed a car into. You got people who are stressing because of COVID. This lady smacked another lady across the face in a convenience store. You just have people who normally they would hide these tendencies, right? But now they're coming to surface because, once again, that emotional state has been cooped up in a house. So now you're getting boldness. However, what do we do with that? We match it. So the negativity that's coming out and that's being presented, we kill it with positivity. I don't even like to use the word kill, but we really shrink it with positivity. Positivity means starting a movement. It doesn't have to be that the movement is finished. Do you know what I mean? A movement, what takes place in a movement? Like when you see birds migrate, when you see herd migrate, it's methodical, it's thought out. They go a certain time, they go a certain season, they go, you know what I mean? They fly a certain way. So it doesn't mean that we start a movement and it's going to be over. That's not what anyone's saying. But we at least got to start it. That's my point. We have to start it. And people who chose to not play and stand up for themselves, they really, really put a stake in the ground, because they're showing that no matter what you're paying me, no matter who I am to society and who you are to society, I'm not playing. And I still have my job. So guess what? Other people can do that too. That's my point. model leadership, but don't be afraid to start, once again, the match that lights the fire. Be the match. Don't be scared, because it's fear. When someone doesn't treat something or do something, especially when they're being violated, it's fear. And that's why I say that fear paralyzes people. It really does. It paralyzes companies, it paralyzes people, it paralyzes children. Fear or faith. And I have a talk that I'm doing today about fear and faith. They don't fly to heaven on the same wing. If you're doing something, be faithful in it so that you already have the intention that it's done. The fear is going to always say, oh, if I start this, oh my God, I'm not going to have my job anymore. If I start this, oh my God, my pay is going to be taken away. But you got to have faith that God and the universe will replenish anything that's good. Anything that's good. Good attracts good. So if you have to step up for the good of you and mankind, you're going to be taken care of. But people don't know that other side. So that uncertainty and not knowing that other side increases the fear and the anxiety, and it makes them do absolutely nothing but feel bad about how they're being treated or what's happening to them. And that's it. And that's as far as it goes. So it's not that, oh, we're never going to see. Yes, we are. Because once again, there are black presidents. There's a real black president, a real president, President Obama. My point is, though, that there are African Americans that are soaring and moving up and in positions. And I want to say this too, even with our election coming up, be mindful of who you vote into anything, not just politics, who you vote into when you're sitting in a circle and you have a voice to say, we should make him, the chairman of this board, or we should make her. You have that voice in that circle before that person gets put into that position. Use it. Use that voice. People, we cannot continue to function and complain about the functionality if we're the ones putting people into these positions and into this power, into these, especially the political positions. We can't. You didn't vote. Please vote, y'all. Please vote, y'all. I'm going to say that. I know it's off the topic, but please vote.
No, it's funny because it segue right into what I was getting ready to talk about, and funny how, intelligent minds think alike, and you hit the nail on the head, just talking about President Obama, just talking, and that's leading right up to my point. All right. Interesting fact. I was reading a quote from Trump where he said that the reason why I'm in office is because Black Americans didn't vote the way that they voted when Obama was coming into office. And, which is a sad statistic. I drove all the way to the state of Virginia from New Jersey to vote, okay, definitely for Hillary. And it didn't
I'm
happen.
with her.
And I'm on my way back. I'm crying, crying, crying in my car on the way back because I got to go to work the next day. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This is not true. I think that a lot of people would have rather put a man like that in office than to vote for a woman. And
Yeah.
that's sad. That's really sad. Who's to say that America's not ready for the United States? Every single country in the world right now that is beating COVID and is successful with COVID is being run and governed by a woman.
Women, yep.
Okay? That's an interesting fact. If
Yep.
anybody wants to challenge it, go right ahead. Um, but bottom line is this: we create change in numbers, right?
Yes.
And so, with that being said, we can't sit around as American people and sit around and complain about all of the things that are happening, and then you don't get up and go vote.
Right.
Okay? Somewhere along the line in my family, somebody was beat up, somebody was hung,
Yep.
somebody was tortured, somebody was humiliated over the idea of voting. Not the actual
Right.
voting, the
Right.
idea of voting. So,
Yep.
with that being said, There isn't anybody out there today who should be happy with the way the world is going. I say don't be afraid of change.
Yeah.
With a woman in office, our economic situation is going to change overnight.
Yes.
Healthcare is going to change overnight. Education is going to change overnight. Social Security is going to change overnight.
Yes.
Daycare is going to change overnight. So when I was playing, I had the privilege of being invited to the White House to meet Bush and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're talking about Junior, right? Took a
Mm-hmm.
picture with his wife. His wife reconstructed the Library of Congress. And so I got to do Read to Achieve and be with her all day. So, with that being said, and not to be too long winded, the things that women care about don't even
Right.
run across men's minds. And that's not to put them down. But bottom line is, there's certain things that have to be changed in this country in order for us to make America great again. Because what we're doing right now is so much way. And I would love and I hope to see the day, first and foremost, off of my lips, where there's going to be equality and there's
Yeah.
going to be, we don't have to sit around and have these conversations about
Right.
the discrepancy in pay, the glass ceiling that we have to deal with because, we're the only one in the room that's sipping on
Right.
coke, smoking a cigar in corporate America, you know, and just people be treated as people and not because of what they have in between their legs, excuse me,
Right.
or the
Absolutely.
color of their skin. And so we're going to get to a day, and I'm not even going to, I'm going to take the whole vanity. I know we're going to get to a day where we're going to see
We
that,
are.
live it, going to live it, and actually be able to experience that right in my pocket. And so, we talked about a lot of great topics, and school is getting ready to start back up, and that's going to be a whole different baby. But before we ended this segment, I wanted to give you the opportunity to talk about that because we've talked about a lot of things off the cuff. We're always trying to, and I appreciate you for that because we're always looking for innovative ways to, you know, uh, to really increase our viewership and also increase our monetary value. Um, so,
Right.
just talking about that, there's going to be a host of individuals out there in the weeks to come, and I'm talking about short weeks to come. Because school is going to be starting in New Jersey and on the East Coast after Labor Day, and there's going to be a lot of people out there that are going to be looking wholeheartedly for circle time for their
Right.
kids.
Right.
And so, with that being said, I wanted to, before we get off of here, wanted you uh, to talk about that and what it is that you do, um, to teach kids during this time because there's going to be a lot of parents who are not gonna know what to do with their kids, and we're talking about those ages from preschool to, and I'm just going to let it go and let you talk about it.
Okay. Well, I do want to say this one thing though, as far as women in presidency, before I get into, I just want to say that the qualities that we have, and this is what I really want men to listen to, they love that we're nurturers. They love that we massage situations. They love that we fix things, right? If our child falls, we got the Band-Aid waiting. We run homes. A household is like a company and a corporation. So I just want people, not people, I want men to really, and the younger generation, sometimes that rooted stuff is in there and it's difficult to get it out, but that younger generation that put um, Trump into office because they rather have a man in there versus a quality person, whether Hillary was a man or a woman, just a quality level-headed person to run our country. should have been in there. So I just wanted to say that, to all of the women out there in office, I have plans to run for state rep as well. Keep on going, keep on moving, keep on pushing, because we will definitely see and have our day. So getting into circle time, online circle time.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
I saw
No,
your website. It's hot.
online circle time. No, there's an age group. So for those of you who don't or do know what I do, I am a developmental therapist and a behavioral specialist. So I work with children, adolescents, and even adults, but my forte is 0 to 3. And so basically, a lot of my parents and clients have been saying, I don't know, what do we have for children that are, in preschool with the daycares, some of them being closed and having shorter numbers. What can I do with them as far as learning? The big ones, the older kid who's online. And so the little ones are just kind of running all around. And then you got people who are working from home, and really that structure is gone because the daycares are not really open as much, I'm saying, for now. So some of the work that I do to redirect behaviors is obviously learning, and it's implementing, different techniques and different things like that. But since I had a daycare, I was the owner of a daycare and preschool, I'm passionate about teaching children early in the pre-operational stage of development. So what I do is an online circle time that rocks. So teaching that group, giving them an hour every week, 4 days a week, to where they can tune in with their parents, or their parents just could be at a distance and let them be big boys and girls, and where it covers all of the 5 areas of development: social, emotional, communication and language, adaptive, gross and fine motor skills, all of the areas of development. This curriculum is an empathy-based curriculum, which we need, guys, out there. And it's just a fun experience of learning and growing and stretching that brain to input information. So that is what I say, I have to dedicate some time out of my week, because my days, as you know, they're just filled. But I say, I'm passionate about this. We do have a little age group that COVID is not really speaking to. You know what I mean? It's cool to have little online videos on YouTube, but that interaction and that real teaching and all of the songs and the colors and the shapes and the different things that they will learn, science experiments, all of that stuff is just kind of, what are our little babies? What do they get, is what I'm trying to say. They're not getting anything right now unless you go to daycare, and that's not for everyone. Not for everyone. You got children with underlying conditions as well that don't need to be in any setting right now, with COVID going on. So I am offering that, and we will be launching it, and I'm going to say 2 weeks, we'll be launching it. And I just invite all of you guys in. If you have a child, that's 2 to about 5 or 6 years old, let them join in. It's online circle time with Miss Tara.
Okay, so
That's
you're
my
gonna do
website.
that, like you're gonna do that the circle time, like if I want to put my kid in, it's like for an hour.
Yes, it's for 1 hour, 4 days a week. So Monday through Thursday, 4 days a week, 1 hour. But within the hour, you are getting not only like just a rock solid lesson, it's experiential. So I can't like give it all away, because it's going to be
Yeah,
like
exactly.
fun and it's different that we do. But there is going to be, it's not homework. It's just going to be a way that you can connect with your little one too, who's also frustrated because of COVID. We're forgetting that, we just think that 3-year-olds and 2-year-olds are just, they're just kids, they'll get over it. They're being affected too. They had a social environment that they went to every day too with their little friends. They miss it. They have anxieties. I have a lot of parents who have children that are now having sleep deprivation. They're having anxiety. They're having panic. And I mean, they're just 2. So COVID is a beast. It's affecting everyone. However, they will get a learning experience, but it's going to be like a classroom setting, right? That's how we have it set up. So they will get to mingle with other children virtually. And then you'll also get an art activity that matches whatever we learned in a day. So if we did like the letter A, obviously we would do things that suit the letter A, but you'll have an activity every day a take home, should I say, after the circle time that you and your child can do, or grab those older siblings in, or do it as a family. It's time to, seriously, it's really, really time to get to know your kids on a different level and meet them where they are with all of this time that we have at home. I know it's stressful. I see all the little jokes going down social media with parents saying is mixing a drink considered science. I think it's funny, and I know what they're going. I read that the other day. I was laughing so hard. This mom said, "Is mixing a drink considered science?" It is. It is. Whole in parts, right?
You know,
But
that's
um,
kind of,
but seriously, it'll just be a fun experience for parents. And then, like I said, it can foster independence with the little ones. So they can have their little class, right? They want to model what their bigger sisters and brothers are doing, and they have their little class just for them that they get to tune into. So it's gonna be fun.
that's awesome. We're
Be
gonna
fun.
wrap it
Thank
up
you.
on that one. I mean, I think that it's
Yes.
awesome that we're gonna be doing circle time with the babies. We've talked
Yeah.
about a lot of different things from WNBA, NBA to, just basically covering every age group. And I'm glad that we could finish up with the babies because they need a lot of attention
Yeah.
too. May not know exactly what's going on, but they do know that something is going on,
Right.
and they feel stress all the way to our animals feel the stress of this COVID right now. So we can manage to take care of every single element in the household. The household runs better. And so, it
I
starts
agree.
with them babies and it works its way all the way to the top. So, I really appreciate you being on the show as usual, sis.
Thank
We
you.
rocked it out. We rocked it out
Yeah.
today with our sisters. And, as usual, we always toast it up in the end. And I'm always going to say, if you got Anchor FM, download it. Google Podcast, download it. Okay, you got Castro, download it. If you got Apple Podcasts, download it. Overcast, please download it. Pocket, download it. Radio Public, download it. Breaker, download it. We're on several platforms. We'd love to have your company during these times. Peace out to the nation. One love, as usual. Sammy Sosa,
So stop.
love you. Goody does. All right, Tara.